Good day, Kavipal, and welcome to our school opening webinar series. For the discussion today, the topic will be on preparing the mindset of teachers towards distance education. Before we begin, take note of the following reminders. Make sure you are registered to the webinar to have your e-certificate of participation. Visit certificate.vibalgroup.com to generate your proof of attendance. Place your questions on the comment box allotted during the session and they will be addressed by our speaker later on. Share the video using hashtag LearnAs1PH as our official hashtag to our Vibal webinars. Experience learning, Kavibal. And now, to proceed with our webinar this afternoon, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our distinguished speaker today. He is a consultant and evaluator for K-12 Philippine Basic Education, a curriculum and academic consultant of Sisters of Mary. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Brother Roderick M. Aguirre.
Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome again to another session with me. And this is rather a continuation of the topic that I presented yesterday, which was yesterday on about making positive impressions to our students. And right now, we now move on towards focusing on ourselves as educators, on creating and doing something about our mindset so we can prepare for the type of learning delivery this school year 2020 and 2021, which again, I don't know if it's a good thing for you guys out there that the opening of classes was moved to October 5, but I believe some of the private schools out there already had decided to continue on with the opening of classes this August 24. Ang sabi nga nila, sir, wala na pong atrasan to. And by moving again, postponing the opening of the classes would not bode a good and positive results both from our students and from our teachers. Either way, I hope that my topic today, which is a continuation of yesterday, on helping ourselves, this time is helping ourselves accept responsibilities and be open to certain challenges and opportunities for us to grow as individuals and as professional teachers would be a huge help for you guys out there. Shout out again to Miss Faune, Rosalie Faune, for tuning in and watching my session this afternoon. So let me share my slide with you for this afternoon. And my topic, as a continuation of yesterday's topic, is all about preparing the mindset of teachers towards distance education. I already talked about distance education, and you may want to review on my webinars about what are the things that we need to prepare, practical ways we can prepare for the distance education and its demands and its conditions, learning and teaching conditions, and what was my suggestion, how we can overcome possible struggles that we will encounter along the way. But this time is to help ourselves mentally, emotionally, and behaviorally be prepared for the task at hand. So the title for our sharing, I just call it sharing, not necessarily training, but I know that you guys have been doing a lot of preparation out there. It's just that these are just additional information for us. And this is not necessarily more of an academic approach, but more of a practical way. Let's just see this two sessions, my session yesterday, today, and on Friday and next week, as a way of a lifestyle practical ways to be individuals and as professional teachers, how we can become better individuals in our chosen career. So our topic for this afternoon is preparing the mindset of teachers like us towards distance education, and it is more of preparing ourselves as educators to the inevitable changes and innovations in the teaching learning process in the Philippines. Because I believe that even if we have a cure or we have a vaccine for the COVID-19, I believe that distance education will have its mark and its permanent change in our educational system in the Philippines. It may be modified later on, but I believe it will be part of our combination of delivery of teaching and learning to our students in the future. And whether we like or not, this change, this forced change on us is positive in a way that previously distance education has been introduced here in the Philippines, and a lot of teachers and even administrators have a negative reception towards distance education because they believe that no technology or no form of digital technology or platform would diminish or replace the face-to-face interaction or quality of the teacher delivering the lessons to the students in a face-to-face interaction. So again, these are changes that will happen, all right? So this will be our flow for our sharing this afternoon. I will start again with an introduction. I have identified 5 myths about mindsetting or mindset and how we see people and how we can help other people come up with a good or positive mindset towards things and towards challenges and opportunities. We're just going to identify these myths and we will, and through the course of our discussion, we will be able to find more details how we can explain such myth. And then we will now answer the following questions during our discussions. Initially, I had 7 questions, but again, I know that we don't have a lot of time, and I know you don't have a lot of time listening to my talk and to my blubbering here. So I limited my discussion to just 3 questions instead of 7 questions. So I just cramped them into 3 more essential questions, and it starts with what is mindset. We need to know what is a mindset. and what influences it. What are those factors that influence our mindset? And I will connect our learnings yesterday, which is on perceptions and impressions, to our discussion today. And then we're going to understand what are the two existing identified types of mindset that would typify who we are as individuals, or typify us as professionals in the education field. And the question would be, are there other ways to improve our mindset on things? We will answer that too. And then three would be, what are practical ways to prepare ourselves or our mindset for distance education? These are the things that I have been doing in conducting online seminars, online teaching, online conferences, because right now what's happening is everything is online meeting, online conferences, online international conferences, online paper presentations. So one way or the other, I have adjusted a little, acclimatized myself to the situation and the demands of the new ways of delivering our goods to the students and to other colleagues. So these are some of my suggestions how I was able to cope with, very practical ways how I did it, and hopefully these things will be helpful for you guys out there. And then finally, we'll have open forum, some some questions that you may have inside your minds, and some of vague concepts that I may have I may not have been able to explain clearly. And then we'll have certain conclusions and implications to tie up all concerns and all the issues and all the information that I have discussed all throughout. So let's begin with the introduction, identifying myths, teachers' mindset towards distance education. I identified 5 common myths about mindsets, and let's try to understand why we're not supposed to accept them. Let's begin with the common myth teachers have. Common myths teachers have. There should be the word have. I'm sorry. Common myth teachers have about mindset. Let us begin with number 1. Anyone can do anything. Well, that is partly true. We are all endowed with the capability of learning things. There's nothing under the sun that cannot be learned by any individual. Human beings are complex, are endowed with a brain that is so complicated that it is unlimited in its capacity. But as far as our role in society, and as far as our role in certain situations and social demands, we need to be able to zone in on certain skills or certain abilities, so that we become masters and we become experts on that ability. I know that we are capable of being doctors, we're capable of being chefs, capable of being whoever we want to be, but we have to choose one or two, but not all, so that we can focus all our efforts, all our practice, and building our skills towards that particular career. So it is a myth. We cannot ask our teachers to do everything. So in changing the mindset of our teachers, it's not only changing the mindset of our teachers by themselves. It must be a collaborative effort of the members of the school and the teachers themselves. So if you want our teachers to change their mindset towards education, is that we need to accept the idea that they can only do so much, and that they should be focusing on certain responsibilities so that they can deliver effectively with quality their responsibilities. So a question would be, in this time of pandemic, what would be the core responsibilities of our teachers? Planning, online teaching, module making. How about monitoring? How about checking whether the students and the parents are getting the modules on time, and so on and so forth? Will this be the monitoring of other certain aspects of the blended education or the distance education be a responsibility of our teachers? If it's also the responsibility of their teachers, then we are not busting the myth that anyone can do anything. Yes, that's true. Our teachers can still do that, but is that wasting their time and putting too much pressure on them that they should be focusing so much of their time on developing the materials online and via modular approach. All other responsibilities should be taken in by other non-teaching staff of the school or probably the division office. I mean, I'm just saying, and it's too much if we ask our teachers to do everything. And I believe that this is a myth and we need to bust this. And then we have the second myth that I truly believe should be busted is is a statement, a good mindset automatically creates good outcomes, does not follow. Even if we believe we have a good mindset about distance education, that we are psyched and we are happy to engage in a new platform of delivering learning to our students, it doesn't necessarily our happy disposition in life, our positive attitude, our positive impression and perception of the new thing in education does not necessarily precipitate a good outcome. Non sequitur in Latin, it doesn't follow. Meaning, even if we have a positive outlook in life, we still need to work on and we need to act on and prepare. So if you want good outcomes, we need to have good mindset, but in between that would be action. All right. It cannot be, I am hoping, I'm very hopeful that I am now ready for it. That's right. I'm happy that you're positive, but it's not enough. You need to do something and act on it. So statement number 2 is a myth and it's busted. To myth number 3. Sorry, I busted it immediately without my explanation. Having a good mindset means being positive, does not necessarily be that. So sometimes we need to have a more neutral positive depending on situations, because even if we have a good mindset, does not necessarily mean we're always positive. Like not accepting drugs is not being positive about it. There are a lot of things out there that, as far as good mindset means, is also saying no. Okay, so the idea of having a good mindset is knowing when to accept, when not to accept, when to retreat and rest and rise up the next day to fight another day, something like that. We need to know. We need to know that there's also what we call as saying not accepting challenges, knowing that this challenge would bring, negative effects to a lot of people concerned. Nakuha po natin. All right. Then that would be myth. We busted statement number 3. Being positive all the time does not necessarily mean good mindset. Halimbawa po, you are, poor people would say, I'm happy, I have a positive vibe towards my situation right now. I'm okay with the idea that we are poor for as long as we are all living together and we are happy. Do you think that's okay? What about the perspective of your children? I think they deserve a better life. So do not be contented. You have to, yes, it's nice to be positive, but I want you to also feel the pressure of doing something for the betterment of your kids. Now, that's something that we need to look into. Positive, positive impression, positive perception does not necessarily go hand in hand with good mindset. Good mindset does not mean automatically being positive. All right. Next should be constant and regular practice makes perfect. That is a myth because, all right, it's not just a constant regular practice, but it's the error of the practice that makes us perfect. That we need to realize that every time we do something, why are we not reaching the perfection goal we want to reach? Probably because there are some errors and mistakes that we do along the way. And instead of constantly practicing, what we do is focus on what went wrong instead of constantly doing things the way it used to. Because the definition of being a moron or insane is doing the same thing over and over and over again and thinking that it will yield a different result. That won't happen. All right, so we need to realize and analyze. So reflection is more important. Reflection of our errors and how we can overcome them makes perfect. Okay? Responsibilities and not tasks. Ang nangyayari dito, you get tired of doing it over and over and over because you get wasted and you think that it's not working all the time. So if it doesn't work all the time, identify what went wrong and do something about it. And that makes perfect. Now, the fifth and last myth that we're going to bust today would be provide praise to others to inspire them even more. That is a myth. Instead of praising individuals about how intelligent they are, how beautiful they are, how handsome they are, how tall they are, let's focus more on what they can do. What makes a better person is not on their physical looks, not on their genetics, but because of the improvement that they went through in the course of learning. So what to say, we focus more on what things that they can do and then praise them on that. So it is better to praise people on their work and what they have done well instead of their physical and superficial attributes. So this is busted. Thank you very much. And now let's proceed to our discussion, which is now understanding the nature and mindset of our teachers towards distance education. Let us begin with question number one. The question is, what is mindset and what influences it? So we need to understand how we situate mindset in the perspective of the brain and who we are as individuals and the totality of personality, the totality of our personality and our attitude. All right. So I would like to explain the definition or the nature of mindset in the perspective of the structure of attitudes, which I already discussed during July on the attitudes of teachers. And yesterday I already talked about sources of perceptions, which also is relevant to what we're discussing today. So I'll just focus more on what are the different structures or structures of attitudes. There are three structures of attitude. We have the affect, meaning our emotional reactions to things like, do we feel happiness when we see our friends? Do we feel sad when it rains? Do we feel happy when it's sunny? Do we feel sad? Do we feel sad when there are no classes? Do we feel happy when we have it's payment day, something like that? So emotions are part of our attitude. All right. And we need to understand that our emotions are but manifestations of our mindset. All right. And more often than not, people think that our emotions are our mindset. No, we need to realize, why am I happy? The question there, mindset, means what causes our emotions or a particular emotion to come out. Like, why are you so sad? I'm just sad. You cannot feel any emotion without any reason at all. The reason behind all our emotional outbursts, all our emotional manifestations are because of our of our mindset. And if we do not analyze what causes our emotions or changes of our emotions, then we will not be able to improve our mindset. There's a huge possibility that our reactions, our emotional reactions to things and actions on people, that would be perception, right? That we discussed yesterday, is because our total mindset is different from or lacking for us to be objective, right? So the second structure would be, that should have been structures for the nest, would be behavior, meaning how do we actually behave physically, or what are our actions. Example, if you're sad, and if you're sad that it's raining, what would be your actual actions? You will mamumukmuk ka, iiyak ka, mag-crave ka ng mga sweets and so on and so forth. So sometimes what we feel is manifested concretely through our actions. And sometimes a lot of people would focus more on changing their behavior so that they think that this will change their mindset. Wrong. Behavior are manifestations of what we feel, and what we feel are manifestations of our mindset. Hence, it is para siyang sapin-sapin eh. Parang ang nakikita lang natin yung ibabaw, but we are not looking at the deepest part of the causes of our emotions and our behavior. That's truly what we want to identify, and what's what we truly want to reflect on, so that if we want to become a better person, we want to modify and change our mindset. On that note, the third structure of our attitude would be cognition, and that's what we call the mindset or our belief system. In short, that will be the belief system or cognition is totality of our perceptions, our basis for our perceptions about things. All right. Therefore, our cognition or our mindset, our belief system, this is a combination of all the things we went through in life, affect how we feel. All right. All of a sudden, just watching television, you felt like crying. Why? Because your emotion was triggered by an experience, probably way back when you were in elementary or high school, or anything that was in the past that triggered that kind of emotion. Because you feel sadness, what you do is you cry so much, and then then you call the friend who you missed so much. So the action, the emotion, triggered your action to do something, or triggered you to do something about it. All right? Pero merong mga tao po, sorry to shift to Philippine, merong mga tao po na hanggang nararamdaman lang sila. Dahil siguro may mga balakid din po, siguro they look for lack of courage, lack of confidence to act on. But remember, no matter how we constantly feel it, it doesn't mean that our mindset has already changed. We have to analyze, our mind is like an onion that we peel off and go to the core, and the core of it would be cognition, right? Therefore, our mindset affects our feelings and affect our action. So that's what we're going to discuss today, our cognition. Just to add on to our discussion to the question, what is a mindset and what influences it? I will bring some of the information that we discussed yesterday, the sources of perception. So it's the same sources of perception. Our mindset or our perception or our cognition in life as individuals or our personality is a conglomeration of our experiences in life since birth up to who we are right now. So all of these experiences, bad or good, are what makes who we are. Kaya nga sabi nila, di ba, a scarred person is a beautiful person because he experienced a lot of things. But the question here with cognition is that, did you learn constructively from those mistakes in life? Because a lot of people who go through life experience a lot of mistakes, and then they just keep on doing and making the same mistakes. Why? Because they did not change their mindset. Ang tawag nga nun ng mga psychologists is insanity. Insanity is defined as doing things over and over and over again, same thing over and over and over again, hoping that it will yield different results. That means you're insane. Alam mong the first time hindi nag-yield ng tama, inulit mo ng pangalawang beses, hindi pa rin tamang kinalabasan, inulit ng pangatlong beses, wala. So, ibig sabihin, it's time for you to change and pick up something else, something better. So, experience will be another source for our cognition and our mindset. Another one be culture and society. The way we were yesterday explained, the way the norms, the mores of our society would also contribute to our mindset. Our biases and prejudices, especially yesterday, there was so good conversation about, sir, pang maitim po ba, masamang tao agad, pagkulot ng buhok. So sometimes we attribute, because of our society's belief system about things, about looks and physical attributes, somehow dictate what type of mindset we have, and the kind of mindset that we have also contribute how we feel towards other people and other things, and how we act towards them. Another one, again, some explains is learning and education, and how we were educated, or how we are still being educated, and how we educate ourselves. Because I believe that we cannot just say that who we are right now, our mindset, right now is a byproduct of our experience of our elementary, high school, and college days. No, I believe that a lot of learning happens outside the institution of the school. A lot of learning happens with the individual teaching themselves, like reading a lot of books, reading a lot of novels, reading a lot of newspapers, interacting with other people. So I believe that we cannot just situate our cognition and mindset to just learning and education in the formal education. There are other ways that we can learn through learning education. There are the informal education as well. All right. Another one would also be observation, our observation of other people. So itong sinasabi po natin ng mga idol. Like, I know that my mindset will be like this because I had mentors before. This is how I see a teacher should be, because along the way I saw models, I experienced teachers, experts who modeled a certain mindset and certain behavior, a certain emotional reactions to things. And I believe that's how I want to be and who I want to be. But also there's also an experience where through observation we get to meet people who we don't want to be. So dalawa palagi yun eh. Yan ang mga klase ng tao na gusto ko maging. Gagayahin ko yung mga paano sila naging successful. Sige, yan, kung anong mindset nila, yun ang gagawin ko. But there are also instances via observation that we observe people of who we don't want to be. Yan ang ugali na ayoko. Hindi ko yung gagayahin. So these are both opposite sides, good or bad, yin yang, kung sa Chinese, contribute to who we are as individuals, because that's why I believe there's no such thing as no learning in any situation. Sabi na, sir, I chose not to learn anything, and that is still something you learn. You chose not to do anything given this kind of situation, but not all the situations. So making a choice and not making a choice, still making a choice. Making choices is part of our learning, and that's part of our mindset. Next would be conditioning. As I've said, a lot of conditioning happens with the media right now, what we see over television, especially on commercials, using propagandas and all. These are part of our mindset, which, whether we like it or not, there will be situations in our lives that we are so limited in our cognition. Hence, the way we react to things, the way we deal with people, in terms of our mindset will be also limited. So ang punto ko po, kagaya ng sinabi ko kahapon, ay kung paano tayo mag-react sa ibang tao, negative man o positive, also reflects who we are as individuals. At ito po yun, yung mindset natin. Baka kulang ang ating mindset. Baka kulang tayo sa experience. Baka kulang tayo sa exposure to other cultures. Baka kulang tayo sa ating learning. Baka kulang tayo ng mga idols or observations of best people or experts people who have been successful in their lives, at we have not somehow approximated how they were able to succeed in life and what was their mindset to such challenges in life. And of course, conditioning. All right. So what are our takeaways for question number one, which is what the question number one is what is mindset and what influences it. So our takeaway for question number one would be mindset is a way of thinking. Mindset is a way of thinking. In a word, a mental inclination or disposition or a frame of mind. Okay? Ganyan tayo mag-isip. Kung masama ang tingin natin sa tao, sa bagay-bagay, yan tayo mag-isip. Ganyan tayo mag-isip. So hindi kasalanan ng bagay na yon. Dahil ang mga bagay, ang mga tao, they are on their own, they have their own independent characteristics. And the way we brand them and how we evaluate them, positive or negative or neutral, will be based on our mindset, our way of thinking. As I've said, we have to do something about our mindset. Kung ayaw mo, may problema po tayo. All right. Next takeaway would be our mindset is our collection of thoughts, okay, and beliefs that shape our thought habits, okay? Ibig sabihin, patong-patong yan na thoughts. Minsan, even our emotions, nagpapatong-patong, yung pride, yung pride, lahat na lang ng mga pride, okay? Nagpapatong-patong yan na sometimes it controls how we think of, think and how we perceive about situations, about people that we come in contact with. And our thought habits affect how we think, what we feel, and what we do. It impacts how we make sense of the world and how we make sense of ourselves. A good example would be there were situations when there was my first year of being a speaker or a resource person for teacher trainings. Nasobrahan po ako ng belief sa sarili ko na to the point na sabi ko hindi ko kailangan mag-prepare kasi nga kabisado ko ng mga topic. Ang topic na yan, nasa ulo ko na lahat. I was one of the best graduates of Philippine Normal. May ganoon akong bravado noon. And then one of these trainings, it so happened that there were attendees who were more educated, probably more learned than I was. Bata-bata pa ako noon. I was like probably 2 years in my career. 2 years pa lang noon. So nakalimutan ko isipin na may iba pang tao. I was only looking at myself, thinking of myself as the only person has the best ideas about that discipline. That was about reading. So nandun na, ang dami ng tanong. So habang tinatanong ako, ang tingin ko sa mga tanong ng mga participants na yon ay they are condemning me and they were judging me and they were testing me. Pero yung pala, ang totoo ngayon, looking back now, they were just being honestly asking questions to me so that I could, possibly give them answers that could help them. Kaya lang dahil nga sa ugali ko noon na ako lang magaling, ang feeling ko, nagmamagaling sila. Alright? So, sino may limitasyon sa sitwasyon na yun? Ako may limitasyon. Kulang aking experience na maaring ang mga tao nagtatanong dahil nga talaga they're honestly asking me questions that they want me to answer their queries and their questions that they have probably been bugging themselves how to answer it. And since there's an opportunity for someone to answer those questions, then nagtanong sila sa akin. Kaya lang nasarado utak ko. That was my mindset then. Wala nang iba at you don't question my ideas. Mga ganun yun. So, but eventually, limited pa. As we grow older and as we interact and as we teach ourselves and we analyze ourselves as to where we went wrong, we become better person. Kaya nakalagay dito sa last part sa ating takeaway, it impacts how we make sense of the world, okay? And how we make sense of ourselves, all right? I think one good thing about having a good mindset is not necessarily being open-minded, but being able to reflect on our actions. That I believe as a part of my mindset is that saying no to opportunities is also saying no to growth in my career. Yeah, tanggap ako ng mga responsibilities, not because na nagmamagaling ako. It's because for me, those responsibilities are opportunities for me to grow. If siguro kung wala akong ganung mindset, lang ako ngayon, nag-stagnate. Kasi feeling ko ako lang magaling at ako na yung standard of the best. So, dapat baguhin po natin yan. Let's now answer question number 2. Okay. So what are the types of mindset? I've been reading a lot about psychology when I left PNU because there were a lot of things. I had a lot of emotional baggage, emotional and mental and physical baggage after leaving PNU and moving on to other institutions. And I had a lot of baggage encountering other people. So I had to read a lot of books, a lot of researches about helping oneself, and we call them as self-help books. And I came across this information about mindsets way back 2008 and 2009, which somehow helped me in my journey to become who I am right now. More understanding. I still believe that I'm intelligent. I mean, we should have a positive perspective of ourselves. I do believe that we are capable of being too intelligent, but the question is, are we able to share it to other people? Are we able to make good about what we know, about our capabilities and abilities to the betterment of society and other people? So let me now give you a test. So you people out there have a paper and I want you to answer these questions and let's find out what mindset you have. All right. So I'm giving you 15 seconds to get a paper. Get a paper. If not a paper, you can key in your answers, just numbers. You're just going to write the numbers. You're just going to key in your answers to the comment box. But if you don't want other people to know what kind of mindset you have, you may want to take the test privately by writing your answers on a piece of paper or probably on your note application in your cell phone. So I'll count 1 to 30, and then by 30 we'll start the test. All right, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. There you go. I gave you 30 seconds to look for your materials to write. And now let's begin our easy test to find out what your mindset are. So what type of mindset do you have? Start reading the following statements and decide which ones you agree most. So all you have to do is choose which numbers you agree and which numbers you do not agree. So ang gagawin mo lang po ay ika-categorize mo lang statements. Halimbawa, statement 1 to 3, agree ka at disagree ka sa statements 4 to 6. Okay, there are only 6 statements though. All right, ready? So statement number 1 is, people have a certain amount of intelligence and there isn't any way to change it. Again, people have a certain amount of intelligence and there isn't any way to change it. Do you agree with this? Would you put this in your agree category or disagree category? Your choice. Number 2, no matter who you are, there isn't much you can do, to improve your basic abilities and personalities. Again, no matter who you are, there isn't much you can do to improve your basic abilities and personalities. Statement number 3. People are capable of changing who they are. Number 3. People are capable of changing who they are. Agree or disagree? Which will you categorize this statement into? Agree or disagree? Number 4. You can learn new things and improve your intelligence. Again, you can learn new things and improve your intelligence. Number 5, and second to the last statement. People either have particular talents or they don't. You can't just acquire talent for things like music, writing, art, or athletics. Again, people either have particular talents or they don't. You can't just acquire talent for things like music, writing, art, or athletics. Let's now have the last statement, number 6. Studying, working hard, and practicing new skills are always to develop new talents and abilities. Again, studying, working hard, and practicing new skills are always to develop new talents and abilities. Okay, are we ready? So let us now evaluate your answers. If you tend to agree with statements 1, 2, and 5, again, 1, 2, and 5, then you probably have a more fixed mindset. Again, if you tend to agree with statements 1, 2, and 5, you categorize statements 1, 2, and 5 as you agree, and the rest disagree, then you probably have more fixed mindset. If you agree with statements 3 and 4 and 6, however, then you have probably tend to have a growth mindset. All right, 3, 4, 6, you agree on those, then you probably tend to have a growth mindset. So on that note, so you probably have a question, sir, what is a fixed mindset? Sir, what is a growth mindset? Because the results of my answer says that I might have fixed mindset. What does that mean? How about, sir, if I have the results show that I probably have growth mindset? Let us answer that now. All right. The types of mindset by Carol Dweck. Carol Dweck is a Stanford University psychologist who thoroughly studied a breakthrough in psychology on identifying mindsets. And she was able, based on her research, she was able to identify two basic mindsets. Although later on there were other types of mindset, but for our discussion for this afternoon, we'll just focus more on the two basic mindsets that Carol Dweck was able to uncover based on his thorough research on different people. He said that we have either a fixed mindset or we have a growth mindset. Okay. Thank you very much. These are my associate. This is Mark and this is Liza. So Mark will be presenting to us the ideas of a fixed mindset, and Liza will be presenting to us the characteristics of people with growth mindset, so that we can distinguish one from the other. All right. So according to Carol, Mark, please present. Yes, that people with fixed mindset, they have a belief that our beliefs are innate. Ibig sabihin, pinanganak tayo na may ganoong skills, na pinanganak tayo ng ganun ng intelligence. So we believe that everything is innate. And yung mga tao na pinanganak na wala nun, talagang wala sila nun. You call that as fixed mindset. Now, for growth mindset, ito po yung mga tao, naniniwala po na ang people with growth mindset believe that, or they have a belief that we can improve our abilities. Meaning, we may not have it at the first, but we have the ability to learn it and to acquire it. And as a constant practice and perception and reflection and overcoming our inadequacies and overcoming such mistakes and errors, we can improve our abilities. Wow. All right. So fixed mindset on one perspective, and another note, is a belief system that talent alone creates success. Ibig sabihin, kung talagang charismatic ka, you look good, you present yourself well, you have good genes, good background, and you are talented, success will come to you. Or better yet, opportunities will easily open up to you, or will be presented to you. That's a fixed mindset. All right. But a growth mindset is a belief that should have been just one back. That talents can be developed, should be developed through dedication and hard work. Naniniwala po sila na success does not just come from talent or genetics or connections or basically looks. It comes also with developing it and putting a lot of work on becoming better and successful at it. That's growth. Ibig sabihin, mas importante sa kanila yung paggawa ng paraan, yung proseso. Okay? On fixed mindset, this is also a belief that mistakes are failures. Tinitingnan nila na pag nagkamali ako, nako, mali na to, hindi na pwede. Nahihirapan na silang matulog. The mistakes, the errors that they committed, they cannot overcome with, and that makes them that makes them overthink things. Hence, it's difficult for them to go to sleep. Better yet, this type of people also look for other people who will say something what they want to hear. Ang maghahanap lang sila ng mga tao na pareho sa kanyang iniisip. Hindi, kapag merong silang nakausap na tao na ibang sinasabi, tatalikuran niya, hindi, mali kayo. So para sa kanya, ang mga tama na explanation ay yung kapareho ng kanyang iniisip. Yung mga hindi kapareho ng kanyang iniisip, mali yun. So yung mga tao na may fixed mindset, maghahanap sila ng taong magko-comfort sa kanila. Oo, tama po yun. Mali sila. Wrong sila doon. Huwag ka makinig sa kanila. Right? People with growth mindset would be, they have believed that, ayan na naman tayong that mistakes are opportunities for improvement. They believe that kapag nagkamali ako, sige, masasaktan ako, magagalit ako, pero i-analyze ko. And I will accept that I committed an error or committed a mistake, and I have to do something about it. And I will find ways to, the next time around, I will be better. Okay? Na, hindi rin sila nakakatulog, pero hindi sila naghahanap ng kakampi. Kahanap sila talaga ng paraan para tulungan nila ang sarili nila. On that note, fixed mindset will set out to prove ourselves, or we set out to prove ourselves that we are better. Ibig sabihin, palaging itong mga tao to na mahilig makipagdebate. Pag nakarinig sila ng tao na ibang iniisip, nako, ready yan makipagdebate, paninindigan niya talaga ang kanyang iniisip at kanyang mga paniniwala. Alright? While the growth mindset are people or sets out to face new opportunities and challenges. Open lang siya. Oo nga no, pero ito yung iniisip ko. Maaaring tama ka, pero titingnan ko. I'll consider your suggestions. Titingnan ko rin, pero I'll try my own suggestion first. But if it doesn't work, then I'll incorporate others. I'll analyze. Baka ako nga naman ang mali. Hindi yung sa fixed mindset, sarado na agad. No, ako lang. Tama, kayong mali. Kung may sinabi kayong mali, may sinabi kayo na iba, kayong mali. Dahil hindi yung kapareho sa akin. Now, what's good thing about knowing the types of mindset? Hindi po yan fixed. Sometimes there are situations that we are fixed in our mindset, and there are situations that we are in a growth mindset. Ang sinasabi po sa atin about having mindset is that we are not definitely fixed mindset. We are not definitely growth mindset. May mga sitwasyon at mga bagay-bagay talaga na hindi natin kino-compromise. A good example would be you have a fixed mindset about marriage. Ganyan. Alright? Meron din kayong fixed mindset perhaps about telling the truth. Okay? You have fixed mindset about perhaps the rights of people to live, about rights of people to access education, quality education. So you cannot compromise. But there is what we call as growth mindset, that you know that these situations or this type of ideas are not constant, and since it's kind of new, it's exploratory. Like what's happening right now. Bago po ang ating mode of delivery, we must have more of a growth mindset, accepting na I may magkamali ako kasi hindi pa ako sure, because hindi lahat naman ng tao sa mundo ay still adjusting to distance education and online teaching and modular learning. So I'll try my best, pero it may not be the best, but I will accept that challenge. Hindi ka dapat magkaroon ng fixed mindset na hindi, wala nang papalit pa sa kagalingan ng teacher sa loob ng classroom na kaharap ng estudyante. Kaya hindi ako papayag na mag-distance education tayo. Ay, wait. Hindi pwede. There are situations that call for growth mindset. We need to accept to ourselves that we cannot be permanently fixed mindset or permanently growth mindset. It's a pendulum. It depends on situations, depends on concepts and ideas. There are things that we cannot compromise and the things that we can compromise. And that's what we need to understand. Pero it's nice to analyze. What we do is, what's important with our discussion this afternoon is the idea of reflecting. Can I compromise? If I don't compromise, what will happen to other people? Should I change my mindset or I shouldn't? Ganon. Okay? At the end of the day, knowing how we can change our mindset is not dependent on what other people are saying. It is what we say and our decision, whether we move from being fixed in our mindset towards distance education, or we try it out and have a more growth mindset perspective towards a new challenge. Right? So our takeaways for question number 2, which is what are types of mindset? Takeaway number 1, on fixed mindsets. Okay? Individuals who are taught that they should look smart instead of loving who they are and doing what makes them better, like ang nangyayari po sa ating pong commercials na maganda dapat maputi ang skin, kaya kailangan mayroong palaging papaputi ng skin, dapat ang buhok ay shiny, straight ang buhok, kaya ng ginana ng other shampoos and so on and so forth. That makes our people, our individual, our students, our teachers have a fixed mindset on certain concepts. Okay, so we want to have a more diverse perspective, especially on diversity, the idea and concept of diversity, and not come up with a more general, definitive definitions of concepts like beauty, love, and all of those that would precipitate making our individuals have more of a fixed mindset. Another one would be individuals who are more concerned with how they are being judged and fear that they might not live up to expectations are most likely would have fixed mindsets. Meaning, if we don't practice at school, we don't practice in distance education or within ourselves and with our friends about being open to comments and telling what's the truth and saying it the right way, and listening to it and doing something about it would result to more of a fixed mindset. Hindi po dapat na yung mga kaibigan ay nandun lang para sa kasiyahan. Our friends, especially our colleagues in the education field, should be there to help us. Mahirap kasi nang kasama mo palagi ay, alam mo, yung central office niya, bigay ng responsibility na ganito. Tapos kinausap mong kaibigan mo na teacher din. Ang sabi niya, oo, ganun nga. Para-pareho na kayo ng mindset eh. Puro na kayo negative. Paano kayo mag-improve? Para-pareho kayo negative. You need someone. Marami kang katanungan. Tanong ka ng tanong sa kapwa mong teacher na hindi rin alam ang sagot. So sino dapat ang kausap mo? Ang kausap mo dapat ay yung tao na posibleng mabibigyan ka ng kasagutan. Otherwise, if you don't do that, you are in a fixed mindset. You're only looking for people who would have the same mindset. Hence, you're the mindset, your own personal mindset and your own perspective. Okay? So let's now have takeaways for the growth mindsets. Number 1, individuals who are taught to explore, embrace new experiences, and enjoy challenges like allowing kids to play, meet new people, especially in school, or better yet, you are already say 50s and 60s, and you're still open to challenges of learning how to use gadgets and digital technology to improve teaching, and that's how you see it. Those people are more into growth mindset. People who help other people adjust to things are people with growth mindset. So the people who have fixed mindset, you know that you cannot be moved as far as you're concerned. You need to go out of your mindset and go to the people who have more growth mindset on certain things so that you will be helped to move from fixed mindset to a more growth mindset or flexible mindset. Next, we have individuals who are willing to try new things and make errors, all in the name of learning and achieving their potential, are better off having they are better because they have more growth mindset. They believe that it's a process. Being good, becoming better, becoming an expert is a journey. We are not born. They believe that we should believe that we are not born perfect, but it is the journey towards perfection that matters most. And we need a lot of people to support us with this because on our own, we cannot do that. All right. So let's now proceed to our third and last question. Wow, we're almost end. Time check. It's already 3 o'clock. So we still have 30 minutes, I suppose. So the third and last question is, what are practical ways to prepare our mindset for distance education? These are the things that I've been doing, and I hope it can help you with how you can cope with the changes I went through. Also, in fact, nagsimula pa ako sa fixed mindset. Kaya tinanggap ko itong topic na to because I'm an example of a person who moved from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset towards distance education. My my friends at Dibal would know that. Ang tagal nila ako, mga siguro 2 buwan yata nila ako sinuyo bago ako tumanggap ng webinars kasi nga naniniwala pa rin ako na ang pag-deliver ng mga topics na ganito ay dapat face-to-face. And I think people would observe that my PowerPoint in face-to-face education is face-to-face training is different from an online. I had to adjust. But for me to be able to adjust, I need to talk to other people. In my case, I had to chat with some of my friends, like Jack Richards in New Zealand, how is fending for himself with the new changes in the educational system. He said, "Hey, sabi niya, hey Ricky, there's already internet, and we already have other gadgets that we can utilize and cope with." These changes. In fact, these are not changes. They are realities. Sabi niya sa akin. In fact, they are changes. They are not changes. They should not be seen as changes. They should be seen as realities. The now. And if you do not adapt to it, you will be lost in time. Hence, your history. Sabi ko, itong matandang to, 70 or 80 plus na yata si Jack, still, moving forward towards adapting to different changes. So ako na ganitong age ko, I will not mention my age, of course, for privacy purposes, still have this, fixed mindset towards distance and the use of gadgets. So I said, I'll try it. So during the GCQ, I did all of this. Yung sinasuggest ko sa inyo, I tried. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, it's a process. It's not always saying that bukas pagising ko, growth mindset. It is a journey. It's a process. It takes time, perhaps. So that's why we need to be patient with our co-teachers. May mga teachers na fix ang mindset towards distance education at naririndida kayo sa pagka-negatibo. Pero we need to help them gradually be introduced to the idea of distance education. I always say that you cannot force someone to accept something, but you can always guide gradually and patiently to make them see the value of such change. Quote that, okay? Aguirre 2020. So these are the things that I did, okay? First, I had to look for people who are older than I am, and actually I was hoping that they will, sympathize with me na sa, oh nga, that's right, Rick. Your Philippine government made a wrong decision on that. There are better ways to deliver or address education instead of just distance education. There are better ways to do that. So I was actually looking for a similar perspective of the decisions done in the Philippines, but alas, the responses given to me was different. So my first suggestion for you, a practical way, is talk about social distancing, what's happening right now, ano ba talaga yan? What's good about it? Communication, what are different ways of communicating? Could it be just face-to-face, or it could be also synchronous and asynchronous, or it could also be, ways of, a delayed way of communicating, ways of teaching and distance learning with someone who can provide you with possible answers, all right? So start talking about it. Hindi yung nasa isip mo lang, isip ko lang ng isip, ang sakit niyan, ang sakit talaga. You need to talk about it. You need to open it up to other people, but not just any people, but people who could, provide you with answers that would, make you think of other alternatives aside from what you're just thinking. Okay? So try that out. Makipag-usap ka. So try that. You can talk face-to-face kung pwede, kung magkalapit lang kayo ng bahay, then you're both safe and you will not contract COVID-19. But if you're still afraid of going out, like what I do, mamalengke lang ako, takot na kasi nga ang daming cases nga hindi mo alam. So what I do is I communicate via the use of phones. I call them. I chat using the messenger and other ways like emails. All right. So do that. In short po, wag tapusin ang pag-iisip. Start talking about it. Okay. Number 2, set a time to practice distance teaching with your colleagues and former students and solicit feedback. Otherwise, you won't do it. That's what I did. Nag-practice muna ako. Nasabi ko, since nandiyan ka sa kabilang bahay, kabilang barangay, kabilang subdivision, hindi tayong kikita. So, try kung okay ba ang boses ko, okay ba ang reception ko. Tingnan mo kung ang energy ko nung ako ay face-to-face nagbibigay ng talk would be translated also na online lang na ganito. Would my hands, kasi when I talk, my hands are also conversant and it moves all the time. Would that also distract my way of delivering my goods to the people who are virtually or online, online with me, but they are not face to face with me, but they are just viewing me via Facebook or via YouTube. So these are the things that I had to try out, and I need to know feedback whether I am doing it or I'm not. I'm doing it right or doing it wrong. So by trying it out, I get to know what things I am good at and what things I need to improve on. Because whether I like it or not, I need to adopt changes. Okay? So try out lang. Just try it out. Makipag-video call ka. Yun nga, yung una ko, nagsimula ako dun sa video calling muna. Tapos sa video calling, di ba, na yung camera, it's like, a mirroring. Nakikita ko na ang pangit pala ng angulo ko na ganan. Hala, kumikinta ba ako? Hala, yung bukat, yung eyeglasses ko dapat something else. So, I need to understand. I need to understand what I can do and what I am not capable of. By doing it, by actually embarking on try out. Kaya mas tama po, I am on board with the Department of Education's decision to have tryouts. But I believe that hindi lang po yung chosen teachers ang magta-try out. Dapat din po tayo, mag-try out po tayo para by doing it constantly, we get the hang of it. Okay, next. Make it a habit to set time for online communication like video chat or just chatting, and you'll find things get easier and easier. Araw-arawin mo siya. Araw-araw mo siya na alam mo namang hindi mo sila makita face-to-face. Alam nga naman, we stop from socializing with our friends. So what we can do is connect via Facebook, Messenger, Viber, and try using emoticons. Nauna puro ako words. And then, sabi ko, bakit yung iba may mga icons sa mga emoticons and so on and so forth, tapos gumagalaw-galaw pa. And then may mga message pala, yun anong ibig sabihin nun. Sabi ko, okay, so one way or the other, I have a message, then if I add on some emoticons and some graphics, that would add on to the message. Kasi nga hindi ko makikita ang mukha, so the emoticons add on to what I'm trying to say. So, sabi ko, so that's how I'm going to present my PowerPoint presentation online. Pagsasamahin ko yung statements plus graphics to augmented, kasi nga kung pakikinig lang sila tapos sa mukha ko, sa boses ko, tapos wala silang nakikitang graphics, it's more of the passive way of listening to the delivery of the topic. But with graphics, my mind and my emotions are also interacting with the presentation. And true enough, a lot of feedback from some of you viewers out there told me that, sir, ang PowerPoint yung nakakatuwa, nakaka-engage po. Kahit hindi kami nag-engage, nakikinig lang kami, but our minds are moving. That's the beauty of having graphics with a presentation. Kaya po, balikan niyo po ang aking talk on enhancing and developing memory skills via graphical presentations. Doon ko po in-explain kung paano po. I had to go back to my psychology books and psychologics and my research on how improving memory skills through graphic presentations, and it improved. I'm still in the process of improving my presentations. I'm looking at other ways to do it, like may mga kwento-kwento, but I'll explore it later. But the point is, we have to start somewhere, and by doing it, we get to improve our craft, and we get to become masters of it. Okay, and then number 4 that I highly suggest for you that I've been doing is avoid friends and turn off the social media notifications and other distractions while you're doing your work. I know you're working at home, but you know that you need to have your mindset that if this is the time you're supposed to be working, even if you're at home, you don't mix pleasure with work. Okay, and I think that's one of the many struggles of teachers and people who are working at home, is that a lot of people at home, when they see you at home tinkering on your laptop, they believe that you're not working because you're at home. You have to tell them that at this time I need to work. Even I am here at home, that I'm just wearing shorts and my top is looking good on my upper part of my body, but at the lower part of the body I look like I'm at home or about to sleep. The point is I'm working. So during this time, I cannot accept calls, only lunchtime and during this time. So if I don't respond back, that means I am working. And then a lot of people say, nasa bahay ka lang naman. Yeah, but I'm still working. So for us to, that's the problem with working at home and teaching at home. The mindset of working. So dapat lahat ng distractions ay tatanggalin mo. Kung nandun nung panahon na nasa school tayo, bawal tayo mag-Facebook, bawal tayo nung pag nasa workplace tayo, ganun din dapat ang gagawin natin sa sarili nyo. At first, it was difficult for me because naka-online nga ako, tapos naka-Facebook pa ako kasi I have to see myself on the Facebook and may mga messages. It takes a lot of effort on my part not to answer back. So, but gradually, as my mind embraces the idea that when I am online and when I'm supposed to be working, even if I'm not yet online, I'm still preparing my PowerPoint presentation, editing and practicing. I'm not supposed to be accepting calls and leisure activities. Gradually, I was able to approximate that mindset. The point is, I just started thinking that way. Okay? Dahan-dahan lang talaga. Again, mindset does not necessarily mean that by deciding that you will change your mindset now to automatically in a few minutes, in a few hours, or say the next day, you have to totally change your mindset. No, it is a journey. It is a constant, conscious practice to change and adapt to a new type of mindset or a way of looking at things. Ganun lang kasimple ang ating definition of mindset. So avoid. And finally, sorry, pito pala to. Next is chunk it out. Break a large task into smaller pieces that are easier to do and get your mind wrapped around. Ganun pong ginagawa ko. Like, ito po dapat, halimbawa, Monday and Tuesday, kagaya kahapon sa ngayon, ito yung atong mga talks ko. Sabi ko, hindi ako agad makagawa ng PowerPoint. So what do I do? Yung ako po kasi pag ako naggawa po, ang una kong ginagawa ay what I research first. Okay, I will research first, about the topic. After doing, research, I will now formulate questions. From these questions that I've formulated, I will now go back to my research and get the answers to those questions. Okay? From these questions that I formulated and na-research ko na siya, matutulog muna ako or di ko muna titingnan. I will let it sink in my head and let my head, get a grasp of how I'm supposed to present it. What graphics would best present this, how I'm going to lay out this, what design is better. That's why I don't, kung makikita nyo, hindi napapara-pareho sa mga design ko ng layout because I know that pag it gets, students get bored. The idea of novelty should be there every time we present, okay, to our students online. Pag nagkaroon kasi na ng idea of constant, nagsisimula na po mag-sink in ang sinasabi po natin na complacency. Pag nagkaroon ng complacency na po sa utak ng teacher at ng mga estudyante, boredom na po ang susunod nun. So every time you meet and say something and go online, be exciting. Okay? Nag-iba ka ba? Huwag naman pakit palagi. Okay? So chunk it out. How do I chunk it out? Ikaw nakaalam sa schedule mo, ikaw nakaalam anong kaya mo. Basta wag mong gawin na ay, hindi ako matutulog hanggang alas 12, alauna. Hindi, wag naman ganun. Kaya nga, titingnan mo na, ito lang muna. So, hanggang dito lang muna gagawin ko and then try it out. Ngayon, kung nagawa mo ng mas maaga, tapos may time ka pa and you decide na you would like to go on to, mag-layout na agad. Ako kasi hindi ako gagawa ng graphics. Nililayout ko muna sa aking PowerPoint lahat ng flow ng aking talk. Pag nagawa na, doon na ako sa details. I mean, that's how I think and that's how I do the chunking. How we chunk our task and our responsibility is dependent on our personality and our way of attacking tasks. And that's how I attack tasks. I look at it on a bigger perspective first. Then once I understand the bigger perspective, I chunk it out in such a way that how would I present this in such a way that it would be easier for my viewers, my participants to understand. Okay? So, una-una muna, ako muna. Paano ko intindihin to? Paano ko ipipresent to? Tapos, on the last part na perspective na ngayon, paano nila intindihin to? Intindihan ba nila to or what? Okay, so it's a two-way process. Number 6, if you find yourself stuck, you can restart. Marami po akong beses na case na I tried this presentation and then I scrapped it out. Sabi ko, this is not good. Yung tinitingnan ko, ako nga mismo sabi ko, pati ako na bored ako. So that's why it's very important for us to practice first delivering it and then recording it. Dahil ikaw rin dapat ikaw yung unang-unang nag-evaluate ng sarili nating performance. So that's how I do it. I evaluate myself. Tama ba ang aking boses? Parang pangit ang ano ko doon. Yung color combination, sorry, I cannot do anything about my background right now, but I'm thinking about it. Kasi nga, isa sa mga sa mga comments ko sa sarili ko, yung background ko ang pangit. But I can't do anything about it because the landlord is not giving me permission to make changes on the wall colors. Anyway, so wala na akong magawa. That's something that is beyond my control. But the point here is that if you find yourself stuck, you can restart, learn from your mistakes, and try again. So I always identify what went wrong and what doesn't work. So I do something about it. Hindi yung I just give up. You cannot. We are teachers and we cannot give up on our students. If we give up on ourselves, it's not giving up on ourselves. It is also giving up on our students. Do we want that for our students? I think a lot of teachers or all of you teachers out there would say, no, sir, I will not give up because this is for the sake of my students. Para sa kinabukasan ng mga kabataang Pilipino. #learn as one. All right. And the final suggestion that I can give you is add to your statements ng yet. Hindi ko pa alam to. Ngayon lang. Hindi pa. Or yet in English. When you are stuck, try adding the word yet. Instead of saying, I don't get this, try saying, I don't get this yet. And then start wondering what might have to happen in order for you to get it. Okay? So in short po, para po open tayo sa changes and how we can change our mindset from fixed mindset to growth mindset, we need to be accepting of errors and mistakes. Okay? Sabi nga nila, hindi tayo pinanganak na perfecto, but it's a journey towards perfection. And it's always, there's no type of life or kind of life out there or a person going through life who did not experience any mistakes and errors in life. Lahat. And via these mistakes, I hope that what makes a better person or a worse person is that a better person would learn something from these mistakes and rise above it and do something about it and become a better person and use these mistakes as platforms or stepping stones to becoming better in order to help other people around him or her who are dependent on what he can do or she can do. Well, the worst person would be committing mistakes, and instead of analyzing what went wrong, with oneself, anong contribution ng sarili niya sa pagkakamali na yun? Instead of doing that, what they do is they blame other people. And that's what's one of the many mistakes of the fixed mindset in terms of situations like this, blaming other people. Kasalanan kasi yan ng gobyerno, kasalanan kasi yan ng presidente, kasalanan yan kasi ng sekretary, kasalanan yan ng principal namin, kasalanan. Wait. You know that ganito na nga ang nangyari. Ganyan ang sinabi sila. But at your end, on our end as educators, tayo ang harap sa mga bata. At pag hindi natin ginawa creatively ang ating tasks and delivering the lessons to our students in a distance education perspective, hindi naman nila sisisihin ng ang principal. Hindi nila sisisihin ng presidente. Ikaw ang sisisihin dahil ikaw ang teacher nila. Tayo ang teacher nila. Kayo po, kung hindi ko dineliver ang aking goods na ganito, hindi ako nag-prepare, sino sisisihin nyo? Ang Vibal? Hindi naman yung sisisihin ng Vibal. Ako. Dahil ako po ang nag-prepare, I was given the task to deliver this. I know that I have a lot of concerns with Vibal, some of the things like topics, but it doesn't stop me from giving my comments. Okay? But it doesn't also stop me from doing my job. Okay? And doing something about it creatively. With that, I think I am ready for questions from you guys. I'm sorry I get too emotional. This past few days, especially yesterday and today's topic is so close to me because these are all my personal experiences in life. And what I'm sharing to you guys is how I went through life, and especially this topic on mindset is a quite recent experience for me. And these are the things how I did to survive. And then there was such a time where I said, bahala na, ayoko na talaga. Maghihintay talaga ako na magkaroon ng vaccine. Totoo po, na gano'n, ay bahala. Meron pa ang dami ko pa namang savings, bahala sila dyan. Bahala kayo dyan. Hindi ako pupunta ng central office, ay bahala kayo. Hindi ako pupunta ng Sister San, bahala ka dyan. Natulungan ko naman kayo na gawa na ng trabaho ko and so on and so forth. But then again, I realized what will happen if I don't do my job, my responsibilities creatively and adjust to situations. Hindi lang ako hindi actually ang mga teachers na magsasuffer. There will be the end users and the end reservers of of education. That will be our students. Would that sink well on our conscience that because of our mindset, our fixed mindset, and knowing we thought that what's best is what we think is best, we stop what we're supposed to be doing because and then in result, some of our students suffered and did not receive quality education. 1 year is 1 year. And a lot of things will happen to our students during this school year 2020 and 2021. How we can address these changes and how we can help our students become better students via distance education is still within our hands. So on that note, do you have questions?
Thank you very much, Brother Roderick. Of course, our viewers have their questions. Our first question is from Emelita Dauz. Is it possible to change a fixed mindset into a growth mindset or vice versa? How, sir?
Yes, you can. From a fixed mindset to a growth mindset or vice versa, again, it's always going back to the ones that I suggested. You start talking about it. Marami kasing tao na ang kanyang mindset ay sinasarili o kaya yung mga iniisip niya, sinasarili niya. So, wala pong makakatulong sa'yo. I mean, people are not mind readers. Okay? My suggestion always is to say something about what you think. Kasi kakainin ka niya ng iniisip mo. Walang makakatulong niya. Kung sa tingin mo yung mga tanong na yan ay hindi mo masasagot para sa sarili mo at wala kang kasagutan sa mga iniisip mo na ganyan, it is best to turn to other people, friends perhaps, or people who can help you and start talking about it. Pag nagsimula ka na magsalita at kinausap mo yun, it is now the starting point towards growth mindset. Now, may mga sitwasyon kasi na hindi mo kailangan mag growth mindset. Fix ka. Halimbawa yung pagbabudget mo, kunwari na fix ang budget ko na dapat ang allowance mo ganito lang, ang ating bills ganito lang, so dapat ganito lang dapat ang pagbukas ng TV oras. So ang tawag natin doon ay that's also a fixed mindset. Dapat strict ka doon. Walang compromise. Again, hindi dapat ikaw lang nakalam. Your plans about how things should be done based on the rules and regulations should be shared with the people who will be concerned or who are concerned in following such plans. Halimbawa, sinabi mo na dapat ganito ang online natin, dapat itong gagawin. Sino ba dapat ang nakakaalam nun? Dapat inorient natin ang mga estudyante para these things are not things to be compromised. So pag sinabi po natin na ganitong oras ang ating online, hindi ako mag-a-adjust. Fix ako doon. So, again, my suggestion is start talking about it. Whichever decision you want to make, whether the situation calls for a fixed mindset or a growth mindset, okay, start talking about it. Why? Because by talking about it, you get to refine your thoughts and your ideas. And the people concerned about such mindset will also be able to give you feedback whether you are right or whether you're wrong. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, brother. Our next question is from Mona Lisa Luciano. Sir,
Yes.
how will you encourage parents who don't want to send their children to school this pandemic period as teachers?
Again.
How will you encourage parents who don't want to send their children to school this pandemic period as teachers?
Okay, actually it's their own decision, but what I could say to them is that such decisions would have pros and cons. So I would ask them to approximate a growth mindset, trying to analyze possible pros and possible cons. Like if I don't send my students to school during this pandemic, what will happen to their formal education? Will they be left behind If they will be left behind, what will I do as parent so that next year they will be able to cope with uh, in cope with being able to go back to their target grade level. What are the things? Can I do that for myself and so on and so forth? Now, if I do send them to school, what will be the challenges? So as teachers po tayo, as teachers, well, we can help our teachers, our parents make decisions in a growth or fixed perspective is for us to provide them with a thorough orientation. Ito po, nagkaroon po ako ng session on I think we will have a session on changing the mindset of parents. Meron po tayong parents and learners. What's important there is to provide them with possible pros and cons about decisions that they will make. Like if you decide, ma'am, parents, we would like to present to you certain pros and cons of decisions of not sending your kids or your children to school. These are the possible cons, okay? Possible pros. Ipakita nyo muna. Magmamatch na, sabi ko na nga ba, pros yan eh. Dahil ang mga bata makafocus pa sa sariling development nila, wala pa masyadong gastos, and so on and so forth. The cons are, ganun. But, if you send your kids to school, ito naman po ang pros nila. Ito naman ang cons. Then you let them decide which one they will take. As I've said, in helping people to shift their mindset either from fixed to growth mindset or from growth to fixed mindset, depending on the situation and whatever type of mindset is called for or appropriate, is that as teachers, helping other people change their mindset is a journey too. We need to be patient because even if we present all this information to them today, it will take probably days before they're able to process it. So, kung tayo po mga teacher na tumutulong sa mga magulang para pumili ng tamang desisyon kung ano ang dapat mindset nila for distance education, what we can do is present to them as honest as possible options that they can take and the pros and cons of the options. And at the end of the day, that's their decision. Okay? So, wala po tayong magagawa doon. We cannot force them to go to school. Pero sa public school, kahit pumunta, yun nga lang po sa public school, kasi mag-decide man ng mga magulang na isa ng mga anak nila sa school o hindi, si teacher pa rin ang kawawa dahil sila pa rin ang mawawalan ng estudyante. Tapos pag wala ng estudyante, the reports and so on and so forth. So, yun nga, kailangan natin dahan-dahanin sila. So I think hindi yan sole task of the teachers eh. Dapat kasama doon po ang school guidance counselor and school administrators, the local government, kung ito ay sa public school. Sa private school kasi talagang ang school ang gumagawa ng orientation. But sa public school kasi, it should be a synergy of efforts, not just by teachers, but all school personnel, especially with the local government. Kasi nga, komunidad po ang pinag-usapan natin. Thank you very much.
That's all the questions we have for now. Any last reminders to our viewers for today, brother?
Definitely. So thank you very much for listening to me. But before I end my session, let us have our conclusions and implications and tying loose ends and providing some challenges. And these are the things that I would like us to remember and generally about my topic today and yesterday, of course, and some few challenges that we can take on. So one is a mindset is a belief that orients the way we handle situations. So hindi po ang sitwasyon na may mali. Tayo po, kung nagkamali po tayo, hindi po sitwasyon na may mali. Yung ating pag-handle ng situation na mali. At yung mali ang ating pag-handle ng situation, it is because our mindset was wrong. Nagalit ka, that's your emotion. Tapos nagbabog ka, that's your behavior. Bakit ka nagkaroon ng ganong emosyon? Bakit ka nagkaroon ng behavior ng ganon? Because our mindset. Yun po ang rason kung bakit ganon ang ating mga reaction. So the way we sort out what is going on and what we should do, that's based on our mindset. Our mindsets help us spot opportunities, but they can also trap us in self-defeating cycles. Yung paulit-ulit. Dahil if we don't move from, say, a situation, we know as a fixed mindset na it's not working. You know that having this type of fixed mindset on this kind of situation is not right. Then we have to teach ourselves to transition from fixed mindset to growth mindset. As I've said again, life is not definitely fixed mindset or definitely growth mindset. There will be situation that calls for appropriately fixed mindset and for growth mindset. So it's up to us to choose which one is most appropriate. But then again, as I've said, start talking about it to people you trust. Alam po yan ng mga anak ko dyan, yung mga colleagues ko, mga kaibigan ko. I do talk. I always consult them. I've somehow learned that on my own, there are things that I cannot do. Okay, next. Our mindset plays a critical role in how we cope with life's challenges. So in school, a growth mindset can contribute to greater achievement and increased effort. Okay, so mas maganda kasi in the perspective of learning and teaching and learning, mas maganda ang growth mindset. Why? It must be a continuous effort to improve. Okay? Next, when facing a problem such as individually though, as in personal life, when facing a problem such as trying to find a new job, people with growth mindset show greater resilience. Ibig sabihin, rejection, they accept rejection as something that would make them a better person or they could make them stronger. Okay? They are more likely to persevere in the face of setbacks, while those with fixed mindsets are more liable to give up or easily dissuaded to do and act on their situation. All right. We are capable of changing. Sorry, we are capable of changing our mindsets to be our. We are capable of changing our mindsets if continuously reflect on our emotions and actions. So, if we could, pwede po tayo mag-change ng ating mga mindset. Pag palagi natin nire-reflect, bakit ako nag-react ng ganon? Bakit ginawa ko yun? So, cause us to feel and act that way. So, that kind of activity, reflection, helps us become better at, shifting our mindsets appropriately to fixed or growth mindset. Next, parents can also take steps to ensure that their children develop growth mindset. So I would like to end my session with nagsisimula talaga yan sa bahay, ang ating mindset. So the mindsets parents can do is ensure that their children develop growth mindsets, often through praising efforts rather than focusing solely on results. So let's praise our students, our friends, not because of how they look. Like, ang gwapo mo kasi, mabuti na lang. Gwapo ka kung hindi pinagalitan na kita. Yung mga ganyan mga comments makes them feel so like they're over and above other people. They feel like they're always, the world owes them a lot. Okay, so we praise our students not because of how they look, of their genetics or their family background, and so on and so forth. But we praise them because they did a good job or they put effort on the things that they were supposed to accomplish. With that, thank you very much for a wonderful time with you guys, and I hope you got something. You have takeaways from the things that I have I've shared to you. These are all my experience quite recently, though, on how I adapted to distance education. On my case, it's distance training for teachers via webinars. So with that, I really appreciate your attendance and thank you very much. And I hope to see you again in one of my trainings on how we can prepare ourselves for the OpenM classes on Friday. I will be sharing to you the practical checklist that I've been using when I was a teacher at PNU, at De La Salle, and Sister Samaria, the things that I use as practical checklists for me to know if I'm ready for the opening of classes. With that, muchísimas gracias in Spanish. Maraming salamat sa Filipino. Thank you very much in English. At madamong dagang salamat sa Bisaya. At ano ba sa waray? Salamat sa iyong tanan.
There we have it. In behalf of Vival Group Incorporated, I would like to thank our speaker for today for this very relatable and insightful learning session. It is an honor to have you with us today, brother. And to all our Kavival viewers, all thanks to you for your continuous patronage to our daily learning session. Muli, maraming salamat at magandang araw sa ating lahat.